I would have been here earlier, but we would have decided to hid in the trees. Had to make sure. Hey, Mike.
Hey. How you doing? Good. LeBron mentioned something on the podcast that you were formerly on with Steve Nash about how he had kind of went up to Austin and Luka about after he watched them play, and then he said he texted you or called you and a coach and said he wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
What was kind of the message that you got from that, and how has it gone since that conversation?
He just really wanted to do whatever was best for the team, and just wanted, in some ways, I don't want to use the word help, but clarification on what that would look like for him. And again, I think a lot of times those conversations probably would have happened way earlier in the season, but due to the injuries and not having sustained stretches where those guys all played together, it didn't happen until later in the season. And I think when those three guys were in the lineup post All-Star break, they've been dominant, and now we need something different from him, and that's just, and he's been great the 3 games he's played since those guys got hurt.
And then towards that end, what has been key, or what have you seen in those 3 games, and I suppose incorporating what Marcus Smart brings back in the 1 game he played, and then Luke in those 3 games as well?
Yeah, all the guys are doing a great job playing for each other. I mean, the last 2 games, we've really done some good things defensively and moved the basketball. LeBron has obviously, been at the center of that, and Luke as well. Just his playmaking has been great. His off-ball movement, his on-ball decision-making and chops have been fantastic. And getting Smart back last game was huge. I don't even remember his stat line. I obviously remembered it right after the game, but I've moved on. But he had such an impact in 18 minutes. It was great to have him back.
The Nuggets and Spurs tip off the same time you guys do.
Yeah.
Obviously, the result of that game will affect your seeding as well with what you guys do against the Jazz. Was there someone on your staff who paid attention to that score? Like, how would you get the information, if at all, during the course of your game, how that game's going?
Yeah, look, we're gonna control what we can control. We'll I'm sure have check-ins on what's going on in that game, but we're gonna try to continue to build with this group, and that's the goal for today. There's gonna be a couple guys that will, Smart's still gonna be on the minutes restriction, but there'll be a couple other guys that nobody's gonna play 36 minutes, 38 minutes tonight. So, we're gonna try to find the balance. Obviously, there are teams that have the luxury of resting everybody, and for us, we need with this group to continue to build and continue to have positive progress, and that's the goal for today.
JJ, I think one of the things you had said to us in the aftermath of last season, or at the start of the season, was like you didn't really like, upon reflection, the way that you would handle the end of last season into the postseason.
Right, the week off.
Yeah. How much have you thought about that, and I guess how different of can you chart a different path considering your injuries, and how are you guys gonna handle that?
Yeah, we started working on that a couple weeks ago, my staff and I, and then we met with performance earlier this week, and we've got a plan in place and feel pretty confident about it.
JJ, you guys signed Nick up to be your 15th man, be playoff eligible. What went into that decision, adding someone like Nick versus adding another big man like Timmy for the playoff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a difficult decision. Drew's been awesome for us. It's frankly, we're missing 2 of our ball handlers, and 2 of our primary ball handlers, and we need Nick. We need shooting as well. So a lot of discussion and a lot of debate over the last few days about that.
Yeah, go ahead. TJ, I'm curious, just kind of, just as somebody who understands pressure and knows pressure and performance, like you're watching the Masters before you walk in here. Like, what are you cheering for when Rory's in the trees? Are you cheering for success? Are you cheering for chaos?
Right.
In the way that like some of us watch that and like, let's get a crazy finish. Like, are you empathetic? Like, what are you feeling?
Yeah, a little bit different than last year. Was really cheering for him to win. I mean, that was the biggest thing. Wanted to see him, you know, finally win the Masters, and I loved how it happened last year, where he you know, he makes a bogey and then he has to come back and he has to make a birdie putt. Like, it's just like the golf gods. You want to win this tournament, you got to earn it. And today I was very curious, and the reason I wanted to kind of see it out was to see how he managed the next shot. You know, that was the big thing. How do you manage, all right, you failed on the tee shot. That's not where he wanted to be. And how do you manage that next shot? And obviously everybody knows I'm an avid golfer. I love golf. I'm the biggest head case on the golf course in the world. Today I'm gonna not have any swing thoughts. You're too close to the ball. You're too far away from the ball. No, drop the hands. Drop. Don't do it. It's like there's constant. They can't turn the brain off. You know. And it's been awesome for me, because I think there's so many parallels to life, and there's so many parallels to every other sport within the game of golf, and I just wanted to see how Rory sort of managed that, and obviously needed to make bogey and avoid the double, and completed the task.
Hi, Coach. Alan Jung, UCSC Guardian. The Jazz are currently on an 8-game losing streak and have struggled all season. How do you plan to keep your team focused on the task at hand and not get complacent in a game where you guys are favorites?
Again, we control what we can control, and we play to our standards, and we need to continue regardless of opponent. And this has been the messaging for the last 6 weeks. You know, building the playoff mentality is about us, it's not about the opponent. And I want to say again, building our playoff mentality is about us, and it's not about the opponent. So we're going to do that today, and that's the goal for today. I don't know who we're going to play, and we're going to play who we play. We can't control that.
Thanks, Coach.